ballroom competition makeup is totally different than streetwear. And so what looks great to you in your hotel room or your restroom when you're applying it is actually not necessarily going to show the best on the comp floor. So today we're going to go over some quick do's and don'ts for what looks best on most people on the ballroom and Latin competition floor. Now, if I show a don't and you're like, oh, but I love doing that. Hey, you do you. There is not specifically a right or wrong. And beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, forms. But there are just some general things I've seen that look best and worst on most people on the comp floor, okay? And so how I'm going to show this is I'm going to do a split screen. And I'm going to show my face in the do side and the don't side. And then I'm going to go over in detail what the difference is between each side to hopefully help you out here. And guys, I do have a separate playlist on tutorials on like how do you apply makeup? How do you apply eyelashes if you're interested in details like that. Today we're just going to do quick do's and don'ts. So let's get started. Okay, put your seatbelts on. So this side is going to be I would suggest doing it this way side. And this side is going to be doesn't look best on most people side. And I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison and just show you kind of the steps that I did a little bit different on each side, okay? So number one, you'll notice on the kind of I would suggest side, I have a white liner. Not only on the inside, this is a pencil liner in my case, on the inside lid, okay? And you'll notice on my, doesn't look as good on most people, is the black liner on the inside lid, as well as the top lid. And you'll notice this top lid, it's equal black all the way across. This one, I do a little more of a cat eye. That's more on trend these days. Don't have to do it this way, where I go thinner and then I go a little thicker on the edge. Also, a common mistake I see with people when they're very first trying kind of a liquid liner, it can be a little scary going on. And what they do is, and I don't recommend it, they're like, oh, that was too big. Let me go bigger on this side. Oh, now that one's smaller than this one. Bigger, 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 bigger. And finally, their whole eye is just black and it's a big old mess. So my suggestion is if you end up kind of doing one side bigger than the other, it's probably not as bad as you think. I would probably just leave it there. But if it's really irking you, I think it's worth the time for the net end result to just do a little makeup remover wipe and restart. It's not going to take 10 hours, guys, okay? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay, next thing. I did this early on in my career and I look back in my early photos and I cringe. So when I was doing newcomer and bronze, guys, I was all sorts of dark shadow on my lower lid, big old whiter shadow, or even worse, a darker shadow to thinking I'm making my eyes look dramatic on the floor. And I don't know if you can see, one of the things I've talked about in past videos is our expression, okay? And how to emphasize kind of that non-zombie blank look on the floor. And makeup is a big part of that, okay? And so when I do all black, it's very difficult to telegraph that eye expression, a smile, a frown, an intense, if it's just black, black, black. Another thing I've done on this side that I would not recommend for most people is you see that couple on the floor and you see these big glamorous lashes. Well, this is an extra thick lash. This is a little bit of a thinner lash. Because of the way the spotlights will often go down on the floor, the spot itself is going to create a shadow that's already going to make the lashes look thinner. So if you go crazy thick, and then if I were to add a spotlight from above, my eye is just going to disappear, friends. And that, again, it just makes it more difficult to emote with my face, that feeling that we're trying to express in the dance, okay? Another suggestion, and it's difficult to tell in this video probably, but this artificial lash I have slightly trimmed to match the length of my actual eye. This one I plunked on there, didn't trim it. And so because of that, I did adhere it starting earlier in the eye instead of this one starts a little bit farther out. Here's the problem, guys. When I start making expressions, every time I blink, this is already driving me up the wall because I feel the edge of that artificial lash poking me. I mean, this is going to drive me to drink in about 3 hours at the comp, okay? So I would suggest trimming the lash down with a little tiny baby pair of scissors and then starting it a little bit farther out, okay? You can always extend that fine liner a little bit farther in if you want that more complete eye top liner look, okay? Okay, next suggestion, and might be a little difficult to see in a video. I'm not sure how clearly you can see this, but on this eye, I have adhered a mascara to the bottom lashes. This one I have not. For me, I prefer no lash, really, mascara or fake lashes, but if you really feel insecure, like, oh, I have no eyelashes, if you really need a bottom lash, for Pete's sake, use artificial ones. Here's why. If you're worth your weight in salt, you are throwing it down on the comp floor. You are sweating like crazy. The last thing you want is to sweat and then have it. I haven't even started sweating yet. And this mascara is already bleeding down onto my lower eye. Now I'm going to look like I have dark circles under my eye. I don't want to look like a zombie down there. That's not a good look. Okay, so I highly recommend it. They're just, freestyle it. Don't wear a black mascara down there. You can already do that same look with, as you notice here, I have a black soft eyeliner underneath to give the illusion of the black thick lower lash rather than a black liner on the inner eye, no liner below her, except for all the mascara that's already fallen down onto my lower lid and made me look like I have saggy black eyes. If you do have natural under eye circles, and this is natural as we age, we lose the fat pads in our face. Hey, just stick a little tiny dab of concealer on there and you're good to go. Okay, next mistake I have seen, I don't highly recommend it. You'll notice on this side of my face, about maybe 7 years ago, highlighters became popular. So kind of that sparkly, lighter than your natural skin tone. I don't recommend that on the comp floor as I have done on this side of my face. Twofold. Number one, the lights tend to go blue and cool instead of warm. So you put that white thing on there and it's going to look kind of ghost-like and emo once you put the highlighter on. Secondly, again, you're probably sweating like crazy. Now you're going to look equally like more sweaty, like you're slaying it out there. I want to look relaxed. I don't want to look like a sweaty pig. Okay. So I don't recommend personally the highlighters. Okay. Next suggestion on this eye, to emphasize, my expression with my brows, I recommend, I think it looks best on most people. Do you see how I have a white shadow just underneath of my brow? That'll emphasize what my brows are doing for facial expression. This eye, no white shadow up there. I've just done color all the way to the top. It would be the same challenge if I had no shadow up there at all. The flesh tone, especially again with the upper spotlights shining down, just my natural brow ridge is going to create a shadow there. And I don't want to look like someone in dark and they can't see, the shapes I'm making with my face. Because I am dancing my face just like I'm dancing my body. Ultimately, this is how expression comes into play on the floor. Okay, next suggestion, you'll see the blush. I've used a cool blush on the naughty side, just a circle. End up looking like a clown. And again, cool colors generally do not show as well on the comp floor compared to the warm colors due to the cool lights. Okay, so every time I've dropped a fortune to have my makeup professionally done at the comp, they always use darn near an orange on my face. And they usually don't even adhere anything at all on this kind of central cheek, because by the time you're dancing, you're probably flushed there anyway, right? People tend to flush more in their nose and their front cheeks. Instead, which I always found to be interesting, they adhere it all the way up here. You can see a ring almost around the outer edge of my face and just the outside. So when I do flush, I don't look like I have rosacea, okay? And again, seriously, it looks almost orange on the palette to me when I've seen the makeup artist do it. Okay, next suggestion, guys. It's on trend kind of right now. You look at a Kardashian, selfie, and they've got a lip that darn near matches their flesh tone. As a matter of fact, it might even match their flesh tone. Here's the problem on the comp floor. I agree. It looks beautiful and glamorous in theory, in print. But on a comp floor, we are trying to do emotions. It's not like a selfie where we're going, right? We're trying to make faces, okay? Emphasize those wrinkles. It'll get you farther in the marks, okay? So if you do a more dramatic lip and an actual liner, even though I probably wouldn't wear that for, streetwear, and also a little pro tip they've often done for me is they'll literally, after they do a dark liner, I've even seen some pro friends do a black liner on the outside. It's a little bit much for me, but hey, if that's your boat, do it. Looks good on the floor. What looks good up close, guys, in your bathroom mirror, is probably going to not show well on the comp floor, and vice versa. I detest right after a comp if my partner's like, hey, let's go to get a bite to eat. I'm like, no, let's go wash our face and our hair. Then I'll be seen. But anyway, darker liner and then usually a warmer lip tone. And guys, this is something else they've done that kind of took me by surprise at first. They literally take a gold or a yellow eyeshadow and dab it right in the middle, again to emphasize our expression on the floor. Again, it is not like the selfies you're looking at on Facebook where we're just frozen. It's a totally different look on the comp floor, guys, and we're trying to use our makeup to emphasize our facial expressions, not hide them. Okay, we don't want to look like a clown with this blush. We just want our face to naturally flush out, which it's not going to do in the bathroom mirror. It will on the comp floor, and it'll look much more symmetrical, okay? Now, for branding for cosmetics, I'm not particular. Drugstore's fine. In my opinion, it's more the colors that matter. Like I talked about, the warm colors. The little bit more, I'm not saying Spartan no lash at all, but a little bit of a lighter eyelash instead of a super thick short lash that's just going to kind of cover up your eye. You don't want to go out there looking like you have black eyes. So I hope that's been helpful, friends. And again, I'll show you another up close and hopefully a little bit longer so you can study. Hey, comment if you have any suggestions. I always try and keep these under 10 minutes, and I'm already at the 12-minute mark. But again, we have the maybe not so much because it's not some sort of selfie thing. And comp floor. And actually, that reminds me of one more thing. They've also, in my case, with my skin coloring, I'm not sure about yours. I'm quite dark naturally, and I'm yellow undertones. They'll do a magenta color, black on the outside, and an off-white for my highlighter and my inner lid. So instead of, again, what I did early on in my career, regret horribly, is just dark, 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 dark. Okay, So hope that's been helpful, friends. Have suggestions for me, for our friends, hey, comment below. Again, there's not a right or wrong. These are just things that I have found work best on most faces, okay? So I hope that's been helpful. If you have questions, post below too, because we are a worldwide community of ballroom dancers here. I'm coming to you with 40 years experience in this industry, but ultimately I am but one person. And between all of us here, and most of us on our friends channel here compete, you know, who knows how many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years experience we have, many. So I love hearing your stories, and our other friends here do. It helps us all. So thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you first thing tomorrow morning with some more things, all ballroom dance. If you thought that was interesting, hey, hit that like button. And if you want to join me tomorrow for some other hot ballroom dance tea, hey, hit the subscribe button. Okay, guys, have an awesome day. Happy dancing. Bye.